I got into baking sourdough bread about 18 years ago, and I don't really remember why. I think it might have been because the bread was so shitty from the stores, and I'd had so much good bread in Germany. But anyway, I started baking by buying the Tartine Bread sourdough bread book, and pretty much doing exactly what they said. And I'm going to do that today, if I remember correctly, what I did, sort of, and try it out and see what happens. Done this so many times over the decades that I don't really have to think about this. So it's 70% hydration dough. That means on 500 grams of flour, that's 350 grams of water and 500 grams of flour. So back in the day when I started, I didn't really know about autolyse, and I don't think in Tartine they even talked about autolyse. So I didn't do it, and so the next step was, these days I always do autolyse, but at least for this kind of bread. So the next step is 100 grams of active starter. And I do have a video where I show you how you can start your own starter. 10 grams of salt. And we mix. Okay, that's mixed together. That was about, let's say 4 minutes. It's not coming off the bottom, and I would not recommend doing that because I did that a while back. I think I needed it for 20 minutes, 25 minutes, and came together really nicely, but the bread sort of sucked. So this goes into a container, and then it sits there for half an hour, and then there's the first stretch and fold. Time for the first stretch and fold. Make sure your hands are wet. Grab it, pull it, grab it, pull it, grab it, pull it, and grab it and pull it. And oh boy, I can already feel the difference between this that didn't autolyse and regular autolyse dough. The autolyse dough is so much stretchier at this point and not as sticky. But anyway, you're doing this because you want to develop the gluten, and because if you have nice stretchy gluten, then it's going to capture the little bubbles that the starter and the what is it, the yeast is pooping out, and that makes your dough rise. So anyway, this happens 2 more times, and then it goes in the fridge. I don't remember what it did that back then. My God, it's like 18 years ago when I first started. I think back then I just left it in the fridge overnight. So that's what I'm going to do here. I have it marked with the date here, and it says bread, so I don't forget what this is. And then tomorrow we'll shape and bake. Right out of the fridge. Let's get it out of there. This is a technique that took me months to learn, so just keep practicing. All right, we built up the tension pretty nicely here on the top, and I remember I was using back then a different kind of shaping method. But right now what I'm doing is I'm just taking it in my hand, no flour needed, and because what I want is there to be tension on top here. So fold it into itself. Now my proving basket, a little bit of flour, and top goes down into the proving basket. And this is going to rest on the counter for an hour. All right, I'm going to put some flour down on here so it doesn't stick to my hands. Just happened to be too many times. Put it out on some parchment paper, my lam, score it. This Dutch oven is at 500 degrees, so is the oven, of course. Put that in there, lid on, back in the oven. And it's going to bake with the lid on for 20 minutes and then lid off for 25 minutes. And then we'll see what we got. So this is what we got. I remember 18 years ago pulling out a loaf like this out of the oven, and I was just elated. Of course, these days it's going to look a little different. There is no ear here, and but otherwise, this bread is better than anything you can buy in the store. I'll bet. Look at that. It's beautiful. Oh, it smells so good. The taste is absolutely wonderful. The crust crunchy, the inside soft, pillowy. Now, if you're worried about starting on your own, don't, because just do what I did here. I left out a couple of things, but you're going to be so happy.